Turn up the volume for this one. Last week, we told you about the president of Stanford University announcing he would be stepping down. It is because of questions about some of his past research. Those questions were first brought into the spotlight by the student paper, the Stanford Daily. And our next guest is the student journalist who broke that story. Theo Baker, the volume 263 Spotlight Investigations editor at the Stanford Daily. He is the youngest ever recipient of the prestigious George Polk Award. Theo, this is truly extraordinary. You are, what, 18, 19 years old?
Yes, I'm 18 now and really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, walk us through this, right? You start your freshman year at Stanford and walk us through this reporting, where it began and how you ended up here, or how the president ended up not here.
Well, to me, one of the most interesting parts of the story is that it actually started 7 years ago. If people had been willing to look into it the way that I did, they would have found exactly what I found in mid-2022, back in 2015. That is, there were rumors online about allegedly photoshopped images in neuroscientific papers that had been published by Mark Tessier-Lavigne, now Stanford's former president. What I did is I found those rumors, I took them to forensic image analysts, I looked into them further, and I started out with a good old-fashioned open source investigative project. And that has since snowballed into a series of investigative reports that have identified a number of allegations of research misconduct on the part of Mark Tessier-Lavigne and his lab.
Okay, so you're just cruising along your freshman year of college, you're going to the dining hall, you're picking up your mail. Did he ever sit down and speak with you?
No, I've tried more than 12.5 times. I've tried in person, I've tried over email, I've tried over phone. I showed up at his office more than once. He has never sat down or answered questions about this, which is really interesting because there are still a lot of questions that remained and places where he has given inaccurate or misleading statements a number of times. His initial defense when these claims were first surfaced in our November investigative piece was that the alterations, these photoshopped or doctored images, had no bearing on the results of the studies. And of course, he's now agreed to retract or correct at least 5 of these papers, showing that that is not actually the case, that in fact, these widely cited neuroscientific papers had not been corrected over the course of 20 years, and that that was actually an issue for the scientific record.
Okay, so last week when you find out he's stepping down, how did you find out? Where were you?
That's actually a story in and of itself. There was an embargo that was given to other news organizations that they were not going to give to us. But I found out about it anyway, and I bullied them into giving us the embargo too. So I had an embargoed copy of this report that was given to me at about 3 a.m. my time the day before it came out. So I stayed up through the night. I wrote through the pieces. We had, in the end, a piece discussing exactly what this report from Stanford's school-sponsored investigation into Mark Tessier-Lavigne found. And then I was able to publish another exclusive almost right away, showing the gaps in that investigative report where they were unable to access sourcing and why that happened, because they weren't guaranteeing sources, even those with non-disclosure agreements with the biotech giant Genentech. They were not guaranteeing them anonymity, and several people refused to actually go into detail about what might have happened.
Okay, then 2 quick questions. How do you feel then about your university? The president was stonewalling you. His own office was diverting, distracting, denying, possibly talking to other media outlets. And this is your own college.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really interesting year to be at Stanford. I've definitely had my fair share of other reporting stories to work on. One that I thought was really interesting, I reported earlier this year, which is sort of tangentially related. A Stanford professor paid out a $29.2 million fraud judgment in a court of law, still teaching on the faculty. I asked Stanford about it. They say, hey, we've never heard of this. We're not going to do anything because we need to know what this case is. That wasn't true. Stanford was involved in the case. It provided documents, it provided witnesses, and it owned the IP at issue. This is the sort of thing that we see often at Stanford and other elite institutions like it. Is where there is a struggle for accountability. It is something that people in my position have to push for because it doesn't necessarily come about otherwise.
My God, Theo Baker, all this in your freshman year of college. I don't know what's going to happen with you as a sophomore, but we will be watching.